Welcome to Bhavna Physics class, a simple way of learning physics. This is specific for class 12 and I have been discussing chapter 1 of NCERT book, that is electric field and electric force. So here in my last video I have discussed Gauss law. The statement of Gauss law is that the electric flux due to a charged body, any charged body should be 1 over equal to 1 over epsilon naught times of the charge enclosed by the closed surface, and that closed surface is hypothetical, it is imaginary surface, so we can draw that surface by our own. We can choose the shape of that surface is called Gaussian surface. So here we will apply the same concept, the statement concept here in these three cases. So in my first case, this is the first case, electric field due to infinitely long straight wire, and this is infinitely long straight wire. I have taken the case it is positively charged, and let the total charge here is Q. This is the total charge, okay, over this infinite long straight wire, and we need to calculate the electric field at point P. So we can calculate the electric field at point P by using Gauss law. But before this, we need to choose a surface, Gaussian surface, so that this infinitely long straight wire can be enclosed. So what we can do, we will draw one line from the infinitely long straight wire to the point P where we have to calculate the electric field. Afterward, we will draw a cylindrical shape structure . This one is cylindrical shape structure that shows that it is a Gaussian surface. It should be with the dotted line. Why? I told you it is hypothetical, and hypothetical surface should be represented by dotted line. Okay. So this whole surface is with dotted line, and this is Gaussian surface. Okay. We have chosen the shape as cylindrical here. Why? Because a cylindrical shape can enclose this wire, and now the wire is enclosed by the surface, and then we can use Gauss law corresponding to this Gaussian surface. Okay. So here the electric field due to a small amount of charge, suppose the charge here is dq, a small amount of charge. So electric field due to this small amount of charge should be in the radial direction, as I have discussed the basic concept. From the positive charge, electric field lines goes outward radially. So this is electric field lines due to a small amount of charge. Okay. So afterward what we can do, we can take the surface area here. This one is the surface area. So normal vector towards the surface area will be here. This is the normal vector towards the small surface area ds. So electric field, a small amount of electric field is represented due to this dq charge is E here, and it is towards the direction of normal unit vector outward, radially outward. Why it will be radially outward? Because whatever surface we have chosen, it is ds, and ds surface, that electric field lines will be outward. This is positive charge, so electric field lines will be outward. So normal unit area vector and electric field both are coming in the same direction. Similarly, if you want to choose a point here in this direction, then also it will be the same result, that electric field is towards the left side and the normal unit vector will be in the same direction. So this is important to identify the dot product value here. Now according to Gauss law, Gauss law is the mathematical expression which can minimize any long derivation into 3-4 step derivation. So here if we will apply the statement of Gauss law, so total flux corresponding to this Gaussian surface, this is a Gaussian surface, that should be equal to closed integral E dot ds, and that should be equal to 1 over epsilon naught times of charge enclosed by that surface. So total charge I have assumed as Q. So if we are calculating the total charge value, We have to calculate it. So we will take Q here. So total charge enclosed by that surface divided by epsilon naught, which is the permittivity of free space. So you can calculate the value of phi here, which is closed integral E dot ds. That means E ds cos the angle between E and ds. Now what is the angle in accordance with this figure? It is 0. The normal unit area vector and electric field. So this theta will become 0 and cos 0 is equal to 1. So Q divided by epsilon naught. Now E you can take out because electric field is uniform in all portion at all point over this Gaussian surface. So E can be ejected out. Now close integral ds and cos 0 is equal to 1. So this is equal to Q by epsilon naught. This one is the third step. Afterward E ds close integral ds is equal to Q by epsilon naught. ds is surface area. So what is the total surface area value? Because it is a closed integral. So surface area of a cylinder. Okay. What is the value of surface area of a cylinder? That is 2 pi r L. Now what is r here? What is L here? R here is the distance of P point from the positive charge. That means you can say it as the radius of this cylinder, which we have assumed as a Gaussian surface. So this is the radius and the length, finite length over which we are calculating the field is L here. Okay, so we have taken L for the finite length of R. Afterward we will revert it in the that infinitely long. We will take the case 2. So 2 pi r into length of the finite portion of this infinitely long straight wire. So it will come as Q by epsilon naught. Now E is equal to what? This is Q divided by 2 pi epsilon naught r into L. L you can take in numerator only. So it will Q by L. Now what is the value of Q by L here? I told you about lambda, linear charge density, charge divided by length. If we are taking very thin object, then we can take the linear charge density. And you know density is uniform throughout the wires. So now if we place the lambda value in place of Q by L, so this is lambda for the finite length as well as infinite length of the portion of the wire. Okay, because lambda is uniform. It is density. It is a type of density and density must be uniform throughout the wire. So we can take in place of this value as lambda divided by 2 pi epsilon naught r. Okay. So this is the value of E. You can inbox the formula. E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught r. You can see here E only depends on r. Epsilon naught is the constant term, lambda is again the constant term in accordance with the charge value over infinitely long wire. So E is inversely proportional to r. There is no squaring term here. That means electric field increases in inversely proportional to the distance. As the point is far away from this infinite long wire, the electric field value decreases. Okay, but not in the square form. It is not inversely proportional to the square of the distance. It is only inversely proportional to the distance. So that is why there is not much more non-linearity of electric field over the R value. Okay, so you must have to learn this formula, and you can see the steps are so simple here by using the Gauss law. So that is the importance of Gauss law. Okay, so this one is case 1, and now I will take case 2. Case 2, that is electric field due to plane sheet. Now we are considering a plane sheet. This is a positively charged plane sheet. As electric flux, you know, it is a scalar quantity. So generally we take the positive charge here. Okay. we can take the negative charge, but in that case electric flux is a scalar quantity, then it will come with the minus sign. So if we are calculating the formula, minus sign is not much more good appearing here. So we need to take the positive charges here. Okay, I have taken a cylindrical Gaussian surface. Again, you need to draw this Gaussian surface with the dotted line. This is hypothetical, so you have to consider it with the dotted line. Okay, this is Gaussian surface. Again, I am saying the same thing, that Gaussian surface is hypothetical, so this is based on your choice. Okay, so I have taken the surface which is cylindrical in shape, and that surface can be extended, okay, up to the limit of this plane sheet. This is a plane sheet. Let the total charge here is Q. This is the total charge value. The surface area here is ds, and here in this side is ds dash. Now electric field towards this ds portion, ds surface area, due to this positive charge can be radially outward. This is electric field due to ds surface area, and same electric field towards the left side due to this ds surface. You can see electric field here in this direction. Again, the normal area vector we will take for this surface towards the right side, for this surface towards the left side. Okay, so this is overall the flux. Because this is a plane sheet, the flux is towards the both side. Okay, now we have to calculate the electric field at point P. The P point here is situated at this surface which we have chosen earlier. This is P point, and this we can take P dash point. So P dash point and P point, we will calculate the total flux. Because this is a plane sheet, there are so many charges spread over the plane sheet. So we will calculate both the fluxes. Okay. Now, in accordance with the Gauss law, the flux due to the plane sheet at point P and P dash, that can be represented by phi 1 plus phi 2. Okay. Remember this, flux is a scalar quantity, it don't has any direction. So that means what? We will not take the positive sign or negative sign here for the right or left side. Its plus or minus sign only depends on the charge value. So charge here is positive, so we will not take the minus sign here for either phi 1 or phi 2. You will not say that it is the positive x-axis, so flux will be positive. It is the negative x-axis, the flux will be negative. No, flux based on the sign of charge. So charge here is positive, so flux will be positive. So phi 1 plus phi 2, that is equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. Okay. Now what is the value of phi 1? What is the value of phi 1? Phi is equal to E dot ds. So E dot ds, this is phi 1 value, integral plus integral E dot ds dash, that is the value of phi 2. This is Q by epsilon naught. Okay. Now if we consider for this small value, if the integral of this is the small value, we can take the integral as the full surface area S. This is a cylindrical shape structure, so its full surface area is S. Similarly, its full surface area is S. So we can take it as, first of all, dot product. We need to remove this dot product, and you can see the dot, by removing the dot product, it will come as E ds cos 0 integration, and here E ds cos 0, both are in the same direction, so cos 0, that is equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. So E ds integral E ds plus integral E ds, that is equal to Q by epsilon naught. Okay, now E you can take out and integration of ds. Similarly, E take out integration of ds, Q divided by epsilon naught. It will come as twice of E and integration of ds. You have taken it as both values are same, so it will be the twice of the value. Okay. Now afterward, this twice E integration of ds, I have discussed this, that total surface area for this cylindrical surface is up to the limit of this plane sheet, and let towards this side the surface is enlarged up to the surface value s. So same here, it will be enlarged up to the surface value s. So here E, 2E, and the integration of this whole value is s, that is equal to q by epsilon naught. So what is the value of E now? E is equal to q divided by 2 epsilon naught, and this s I have taken in numerator. So charge divided by surface area. Okay. What is the value of this term? That is surface charge density. In the last case, for the infinitely long wire, it is linear charge density. Now in this case, it is surface charge density. So term will become as sigma over twice of epsilon naught. So this is the value of E. You can write down the formula as E is equal to sigma over twice of epsilon naught due to single plane sheet. This one is the formula. Okay. Remember this formula, and there are so many cases regarding this formula. I am going to discuss for the 3 cases here with respect to this formula. So, under the case 2 only, under the second application of Gauss law, if we are discussing the 2 plane sheet, this one is plane sheet 1 and this one is plane sheet 2. Plane sheet 1 and 2, it is whole positively charged, this one is positively charged. Both are positively charged plane sheet. Okay, both are having the same value, and this is very important case. It will come in chapter 3 also, in the capacitor chapter. So remember these points. You can take the 3 points here, P point, P1 point, here the P2 point, here the P3 point. Okay, so there may be the 3 points. If we are talking about P1 point, so at P1 point, the electric field due to sheet 1, that should be here in this direction, this is E1. And electric field due to sheet 2, this is E2. So net electric field will be the addition of the two. Electric field is a vector quantity, so we will take the direction 2. And if the directions are opposite, we will subtract the value. If the directions are same, we will add the value. It is a vector addition. Okay. So in the same direction, both the values are coming in the same direction. So as E is equal to what? Sigma over 2 epsilon naught. So total E value is what? Sigma over 2 epsilon naught plus sigma over 2 epsilon naught. That is, the value is, this is sigma over epsilon naught. Okay. Now at the point P2, electric field due to this positive charge here, this one is the electric field E1, and due to this positive charge, the electric field is E2. The fields are equal and opposite at the middle point P2. So net electric field at P2 point can be represented as sigma over 2 epsilon naught. If we are taking this direction as positive, because it is in the positive x direction, so next direction will come in the negative x direction, and the E value will come as 0. Now for the point P3, electric field due to first point is towards right direction. So E1, due to second sheet, it is towards the right direction. This is E2. So net electric field at P3 point will come as sigma over epsilon naught, the twice of this value as the previous case. The direction here, you can take the direction with the minus sign, that means towards the left. The net electric field is towards left. Here the net electric field is towards right. Okay. If the coordinate systems are given, so towards the left you can take the minus value, and towards the right you can take the plus value. Okay. So these are the 3 points which we can discuss regarding the positive charge sheet and another positive charge sheet placed parallel to each other. One more case we can take, that if the one plane sheet is positively charged and the other plane sheet is negatively charged. So what will happen in this case? Both are parallel to each other. One is point P1, P2 and P3. Okay. So what will happen? For the point P1, the electric field due to this sheet number 1, this is sheet number 2. So due to sheet number 1 towards, let's say, positive, that means away from the positive charge. Due to this negative charge towards the negative charge. So one is E1, one is E2. Due to first sheet it is E1, due to second sheet it is E2. So what is the value of net E? Obviously it will be 0. Similarly, in the P3 point, on the P3 point we will calculate, so both the field will come equal and opposite. So net value will come as 0. Now at P2 point what will happen? Due to this positive charge, the electric field is towards right due to sheet 1, and due to second sheet, sheet number 2, the negative charge, that means towards the charge, that means E2 will come towards the right. So here at the middle point, the E value is sigma over epsilon naught, the twice of the previous value. Sigma over, this is the half value, you can take the double of this value. Both are the addition of the values, electric field values due to sheet 1 and sheet 2. So here in this case, you can see this is opposite to the case 1. Okay. So that are the, and one more condition you can take in the parallel plane sheet conditions, and these conditions are very important. Many questions are generated in here with respect to these conditions, and that is why all the applications of Gauss law is very important. So kindly go through it, and in my next video, most probably in my next video, I will discuss some numerical based on all the previous topic I have discussed, if the syllabus of chapter 1 is finished till my next class. Okay, so here this is case 2. I hope you understood it. If you have any query, you can drop down your comments and I will sort out your problem. Now come to the next case. This is the last case. The third case is what? Case number 3. Electric field due to a spherical conductor. We have taken a hollow conductor here. This is a conductor body. Okay. And this conductor body is positively charged. Okay. Now we can take 3 conditions here under the case 3. One condition is what? At any point inside the hollow spherical conductor. That is, this is P1 point. Afterwards, second case, at the spherical conductor, at the surface of spherical conductor, P2 point. And third case, electric field at any point outside the spherical conductor. So these are the 3 cases under application number 3. Okay. So first of all, we will discuss the condition 1. That is, we need to calculate electric field at point P1. Or it is also mentioned in the way that electric field inside the spherical charged conductor. So we will calculate it. In accordance with the point, we can take Gaussian surface. Whatever point is given, we need to choose that hypothetical surface in accordance with that point position. So point P1 is given here. So we can take the radius, distance from the center of this spherical conductor. This one is center point of this spherical conductor. So we can take the distance from the center point. Let this distance is R1 and this is the radius of the Gaussian circle, hypothetical Gaussian surface which we have assumed in with respect to this point P1. So this is Gaussian surface 1. This is Gaussian surface. We have chosen it because we need to calculate electric field at point P1. So in accordance with Gauss law, that phi flux corresponding to this Gaussian surface, the first Gaussian surface, that should be equal to closed integral E dot ds, that is equal to charge enclosed by that surface Q divided by epsilon naught. That is the formula for flux here in accordance with the Gauss theorem. Now E dot ds, the electric field at P1 point is, now first of all there may be 2 terms, up आपको सबसे पहले डॉट प्रोडक्ट का निकालना है, दैट मीन्स द कॉस थीटा वैल्यू. थीटा इज द एंगल बिटवीन E and DS. DS means normal area vector, normal unit area vector. So here in this case what will happen, that E dot ds, the angle between the two may become as 0. But before this, the basic theory is what? Is there any charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface? Because this was the only statement of Gauss law, that the electric flux due to a charged conductor or charged body, that should be equal to the 1 over epsilon naught times of the charge enclosed by that surface. The surface is Gaussian surface here, and all the charges must be enclosed by that Gaussian surface. The charges are present over this surface, and we have drawn this Gaussian surface. So this Gaussian surface carries no charges. So here in this case the Q value is 0. Okay. If Q value is 0, then it is sure the electric field. If you will calculate the left hand side term, then also the electric field value will come as 0. Okay. ds you can calculate, but because of the right hand side term is 0, so electric field value here in this case will come as 0. So this is case 1, that if the point is situated inside the spherical conductor, hollow spherical conductor, the electric field at any point inside the conductor, that should be 0. And this is again very important concept. It will be useful in the chapter 3. So always remember that electric field inside the hollow spherical conductor, that should be 0. Okay. Case 1 or condition 1. Now take the condition 2. Condition 2 is regarding P2. Okay. So we will take the point P2. That means electric field at point P2. So we need to, again, what will we do? We need to take the distance from center towards the point P2. Let it be R2. Radius is R2 now. Or we can take only R. Because it is the actual circle, so we can take radius as R. You can take also R2. But why we use so many suffixes in notating terms? So it will be beneficial for you to take the distance R, because the actual distance of actual radius of this spherical body is R. So that is why we can consider only R here. The Gaussian surface is drawn over this spherical surface only. This one is the spherical surface. So Gaussian surface is corresponding to this spherical surface only. Here this is the next Gaussian surface. Okay. So we can calculate the flux here, and before calculating the flux we will calculate the electric field value and surface area value. Let us take a small surface area here, ds. The area vector, normal unit area vector is n, and the electric field due to this positive charge is outward, the positive charge. So that is the value of electric field. So here in this case, the flux, which is equal to closed integral E dot ds, that is equal to charge enclosed by that surface divided by epsilon naught. So charge here, this total charge value is Q. This is enclosed by the Gaussian surface. At the Gaussian surface or inside the Gaussian surface, both are same thing. So here it is at the Gaussian surface. So charges are there. It is non-zero value. Okay. So now closed integral E ds cos 0. The angle between electric field and the normal unit area vector is 0. So here it is Q by epsilon naught. So E you can take out and close integral of ds. Cos 0 is 1. So it is Q by epsilon naught. E and ds. ds is the surface area, that means a small value of the surface here. So what is the total surface area of a spherical surface? So that will be 4 pi r square. R we have chosen the radius of this sphere. So that is why r square, this is equal to Q by epsilon naught. So you can calculate E value as E is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. You can see this formula. It is very much related to the electric field due to a point charge. It is the same formula. So 1 over epsilon naught Q by r square. So that means what? This all the spherical charge that can be assumed at the center of this sphere. Assumed. I told it assumed. It is not exactly situated at the center, but Overall, all the charges can be assumed as pointed towards the center of this sphere. So this is very important concept, that if you are taking a hollow charge body, so whole charge of the hollow charge body over the surface, that can be assumed at the center of that spherical charged body. So this is the formula, that electric field formula at a point at the surface of a spherical charged body. Okay. Now take the condition number 3. Condition 3 and electric field at point P3. So P3 is the outside point. Again we will take the distance of C from the point P3. Let this distance is R3. So R1 and R3 are the only two cases, and the middle case is what? R. So we will take one Gaussian surface corresponding to this radius covering the spherical charged body. Okay, this is a Gaussian surface. So what will happen in this case? This is a Gaussian surface. So what will happen? First of all, we will calculate the electric field at point P. Direction of electric field is E, and the normal unit vector over this area vector, that is N. Again it is outward because all of the positive charge. So normal unit area vector is outward and electric field is outward. So angle between the two is again 0. Here I am not rubbing these steps because these are the same steps, only the value of this ds will be changed here. So E dot ds is equal to q by epsilon naught. E ds cos, the angle between the two is 0, so cos 0 is equal to q by epsilon naught. E close integral ds q by epsilon naught. E, in place of this ds we will take the surface area of this Gaussian surface. Okay. Now what will be the surface area? In place of this r, it will be R3, because we have taken this radius of this last Gaussian surface is what? It is R3. So R3 square is equal to q by epsilon naught. So that will come as R3 square. In the last formula, E is equal to q over 4 pi epsilon naught R3 square, where R3 is greater than R. R3 radius is what? The condition where the point is situated outside the spherical charge conductor. So the formula is same, but because distance is larger, so electric field will be comparatively lesser. So electric field at the surface of this spherical charge conductor, it is more as compared to electric field at the point outside the surface charge conductor. So these are the three conditions which I have discussed today under the application of Gauss law, and these are very important. So kindly go through these applications, write down and see whether you are clearing each and every steps in the derivation or not, because these derivations are much more important and you need to apply these derivations steps in numerical too. So it will be beneficial for you to write down this, do the written practice for these derivations. These are very important. I hope you understood today's topic, and in my next video I will discuss dipole and the cases of dipole. Okay, thank you.